You are Locked On Clippers Postcast. Part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up? Welcome to the Clippers Postcast. Nice win for LA, beating the Bucks there 127-17. I am Pete Fox, host of the Clippers Postcast, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers Postcast is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting right now. New customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. Visit FanDuel.com. Well, that one was almost everything you'd hope for. Back and forth, fun game. Kawhi got to play, played well, still have that minutes restriction hanging over his head. But as they pointed out, it has a reason, it has a purpose, and so far so good on what we've seen from Kawhi. I would like to see more, but as they mentioned, accurately so, Kawhi has not finished the season for the Clippers in like 4 years. So that's the goal. Like Kawhi playing 30 minutes tonight instead of 24, not going to change much, not going to affect the game. They won the game anyway. But a big part of the why they won this game was Kawhi Leonard's 24 minutes. He was 8 of 17, couple of threes, 18 points, 4 assists, 3 boards, and, just brings that energy. So we'll talk about how that translates to this team being a better team with Kawhi Leonard on the floor, because there are a lot of things that roll off of that. One of them being James Harden to the bench, not all the time, but occasionally. And, that's been positive as well. When Kawhi's out there and Harden's on the bench, the Clippers are phenomenal. They have a plus 57 net rating when Kawhi plays and Harden sits. So that's fantastic. And we've talked a lot here on the Clippers Postcast about rotations, and I've doubted Ty Lue's comfortability with the rotations. And I feel like that knowledge and that information tells me that they don't have that same doubt or fear about the rotations that I do. I feel like tonight it was definitely better. Derek Jones got some nice minutes, 28, 2 of 3 for 4 points, but 5 rebounds and just a lot of energy when he was on the floor. It was good for the Clippers. Zubats had some big buckets, 29 minutes, 5 of 10 for 12 points, but Harden was the man. That's what we need to get into. Harden had a huge third quarter and put up 17 in the third alone, finishing with 40, a plus minus of 12, perfect from the line, drawing fouls beyond the arc, 9 assists, 5 boards to go with his 40 points. And the biggest number for him tonight that makes me so thrilled, 1 turnover. That's right, 1 turnover. The Clippers tonight had a grand total of 8 turnovers. Is that right? Yeah. What? That's not right. I didn't do the math at the bottom. Yeah, they had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turnovers. It says 3 at the bottom here. They got the lines kind of jumbled up at the bottom. So 6 turnovers. When's the last time we saw the Clippers in single digits with turnovers? That is phenomenal. Coming out of the break, they talked to I gotta write this guy's name down, and it drives me nuts that I cannot remember Clippers assistant coach that used to be the Lakers assistant coach. They talked to him every halftime. Brian Shaw, good old Brian Shaw. I love Brian Shaw. He's a fantastic player, fantastic coach, good guy. Everything about Brian Shaw is likable and positive. They talk to him after every halftime, and I always just blank on his name when I come in here to tell you what Brian Shaw had to say. But his comments at halftime tonight were, we need to defend without fouling, fairly obvious. And that's what it is a lot of times when the coaches are talking to the sideline reporters after halftime or going into the break. But yeah, defending without fouling. Obviously, they needed more of that. The bad news was they didn't do a whole lot of that in the third quarter, but they did in the fourth. And that was fantastic to see. The lane D was better, less fouling, considerably less fouling. And then just in general, the defense at the perimeter, everywhere, more active, really, really good. Derek Jones Jr. had this one play where he was just hounding Antetokounmpo. He was all over him. And then, he got up in Damian Lillard as well. And it was just relentless pressure. And that's the kind of stuff that you really want to see on a more regular basis and just enjoy seeing. It feels good that they won this game doing fundamental things right. Now, one thing that I wasn't totally in love with, but it worked out. And I guess if this is the game plan and this is how they're going to execute tight spots when the game is tight, like it was at the end of 3, 1 point ball game, clips up 94-93. They're going to give the ball to James Harden or Kawhi Leonard and play iso ball. I guess they got to be okay with it. There was not a lot of passing tonight. Not a lot of moving the ball around the perimeter, trying to find an open look, right? Not a lot of it. A grand total, are these numbers right? Is that right? 47 assists? That seems high. Yeah, I don't know what these numbers are. Just let me hit refresh. These numbers on ESPN.com are just all over the place. There's the 47 assists. Come on, no way, no chance. Yeah, I don't know what they're showing here. There's no way they had. I'm not great at math, but 9, 4, and 1, 2, and 3 is not 47. So, that's 10, 14, and 5, 19 assists. So not a lot of moving the ball. That's not the kind of assist night you're looking for. But I will also say that in the first half of this game, there wasn't a lot of defense by either team. It was just like, let's just try to find the best look. And a lot of times that was the first look, maybe one pass. But it was, Harden playing iso ball, Kawhi playing iso ball. Norm Powell didn't get going until the second half. Or second quarter rather, and it was late in the second quarter. Finished the first half with just 11, but all of that came like in about 5 to 6 minutes of the second quarter. So once he got going, that was nice to see. He's not an iso ball guy; he's a catch and shoot guy, but was penetrating the lane a lot, and that was nice to see as well. That was exciting. I feel like the Clippers are better when Norm Powell is shooting the three and penetrating. If he can do both aggressively like he did tonight, especially the up and under with the left hand, that seemed to be kind of a theme tonight on the house for the Clippers, because Kawhi had one of those as well that was sweet and made it into the bucket list, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But yeah, I've said this a few times. Every now and then Clippers get into these back and forths where it just feels like an all-star game where there's just not a whole lot of defense and, kind of not really running the fast break, just kind of half-assing it up the court, finding the first open guy that you can and throwing it to him. He shoots or will look around for a little bit and then shoot. So we saw a fair amount on that in the second half, but in the third quarter and the fourth quarter especially, there wasn't a lot of that. It was James Harden being James Harden, and that was burying threes, hitting the floater. That floater from James Harden is a do or die sort of thing, meaning that when he's got it working, it looks effortless and so easy. And I'm sure it's a shot that he has a lot of confidence in, but there are times when he just doesn't have it going. He doesn't have the touch. Same goes for Zubats. There are just times when it's not falling, but they keep going to it. So you can live by it or die by it, to be honest. But tonight it was working for Harden. Had 3 in a row, and one of them included an and one. That was right at the end of the third quarter and gave the Clippers the lead. So a big win for the Clippers tonight, beating the Milwaukee Bucks at Intuit Dome to wrap up this homestand. was it 5 games in 7 days or something like that? A lot of games and not a lot of days. So busy time for them. So they're off tomorrow and they head out on a roadie. It starts in Phoenix on Monday. Tonight, the final 127-117. And they did it in spite of Giannis Antetokounmpo putting up 36. Had a big game, but they took advantage of the time he was on the bench in the third quarter. We'll get to that after the break. We'll also get to the bucket list for you, the top 5 or so baskets of the night in 26th win of the season for the Clippers. Now 26-19. The Bucks are 25-18. I'm Pete Fox. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. You know, the postcast is here for you. We come on right after the game. So you watch the game and you get a feeling, an emotion, and you're wondering how I feel about that. And you come right here and you listen, and we will give you the lowdown on our interpretation of this game. But a good one tonight, all in all, a 10-point win for the Clippers. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. All right, tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel gives you something. My script went away. Give me a second. I will get it back here in 1 minute. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. And tomorrow's a big day in the NFL with the AFC and the NFC championship games underway at noon Pacific. Right now, new customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. You win that first bet, no pressure. The $300 can keep the action going for months and months on end. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate in a variety of ways. There are bets for every game. When you win, this is the best part to me, you get paid instantly. And let's be honest, you're going to win, right? You have confidence. You can't go into it thinking you're going to lose. You always think you're going to win. No waiting around. You get paid instantly, whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs. FanDuel has you covered. So go to FanDuel.com, join today, get started with $300 in bonus bets. FanDuel.com. Make the playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So the Clippers win tonight, 127-117 for win number 26, in spite of a big night from Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is the real deal. I mean, he's one of these guys that is transformational to a team and can win a game single-handedly. And then you throw in an all-star Hall of Famer like Damian Lillard, who had a good night as well, 6 of 16, but 1 of 9 from beyond the arc. Was that because of the Clippers' defensive pressure? I'm not so sure. I just feel like Dame was a little bit off from beyond the arc, but got to the line a ton, 16 of 17, finished with 29 points. And I absolutely loved Lillard complaining about a foul that James Harden earned with skill against Lillard, doing what Lillard does, right? These are two guys that play the same game when it comes to drawing fouls. So Lillard had his hand out, kind of gently touching Harden's shoulder, and Harden just lifted up his arms and hit him in the hand, and they called a foul. And I mean, look, it was ticky-tack for sure, but it's by the book. And, you know, it's like as if Lillard wouldn't do that. I mean, Lillard did it like in the third quarter, not exactly the same play, but he was drawing those fouls. He was at the line 17 times. So drew a few fouls tonight, was 16 of 17 from the line. So a good night for him there. Also had 10 assists and 10 rebounds to go with his 29 points. So two guys like that can take over a game. And they did in the third quarter. I was getting a little frustrated because the ISO ball was back and forth. It was hard. What the hell? Really? Okay. Sorry about that. Internet took a poop for a second there. Anyway, Harden in ISO mode and Kawhi in ISO mode, just going back and forth, kind of like semi-pro Will Ferrell. No, you take it. No, you take it. No, you take it. Back to me. Back to me. No, you take it. You take it. No, back to me. No, you take it. No, back to me. And then Lillard and Giannis were doing it as well. It was working a little better for the Clippers. So that was nice to see. And a lot of that had to do with the defense they were playing on both Giannis and Lillard. But the thing about that was just, look, you can body up Antetokounmpo and it may not matter, but I felt like Zubats and who else was on him? Who else was defending him tonight? Derek Jones did a fantastic job. Zubats really was working hard on him. Obviously, Kawhi did his work as well. Batum had some nice minutes playing defense there. Didn't score any points, but all of those guys did their work on bodying up Antetokounmpo. And I think he just kind of got a little worn out. And, they sat him on the bench for a good portion of the third quarter. And that's when the Clippers started to pull away. Again, it was a 1-point game going into the fourth quarter. And then the Clippers built a nice, comfortable lead with an 11-0 run at the 7-minute mark. So Kawhi didn't even need to be on the floor. But Antetokounmpo not being on the floor for the Bucks, ultimately, I think, probably cost them the game. Brook Lopez had a nice game. Wasn't great. 4 for 10, though. Had 3 threes. Finished with 13. Taurean Prince had 4 threes, accounting for his 14 points. And Andre Jackson, the 5th starter, played 11 minutes, 2 of 3 for 4 points. Off the bench, Gary Trent Jr. also had 5 threes for 19 points. So when it comes to the 3 battle, 37% for the Bucks and the Clippers 32%. Yeah, the Clippers were not shooting the ball well to start this game, and they battled through it. And came out tied at 28 at the end of 1. Remember the Bucks coming into this game red hot, 8-1 in their last 9 games. So Clippers needed to take care of the fast break points. That was one of the pregame notes. Let's see if they did that, because that's what Jim Jackson thought was a crucial factor for them, that they need to win the points in the paint battle and take advantage of the Bucks with the fast break. They definitely won the points in the paint battle by 18, 58-40. They also dominated when it came to second chance points, 24-13, and they won the fast break stat game 13-6. So the Bucks average about 43 in the paint. Clippers average about 53 in the paint. And tonight, the Bucks just under that average at 40, and the Clips a little over their average at 58. So, from a statistical standpoint, taking care of business is always helpful and beneficial. There was one point of the second quarter, 8:27-ish, 3 offensive rebounds, found Kawhi for a 3, which was absolutely clutch and huge. And I felt like at that point, they started to turn things around a little bit and find a little bit more momentum, because that was a point of the game where, the things could have gone the other way. Again, at the end of halftime, Milwaukee had a little bit of a lead, 54-50. So it wasn't huge, but the Clippers kept battling and took advantage of just being active on the offensive boards, playing aggressively, and then finding Kawhi for a 3, which, by the way, leads me to the bucket list tonight, because Kawhi is on here a few times. For number 5, though, is James Harden hitting a 3 at the 2:21 mark of the first quarter. It made it 24-21 Milwaukee. It's when the Clippers started to kind of climb back into it a little bit, right at the end of the first quarter. And again, they were tied at 28 at the first quarter break. For number 4, Porter Jr. had a sweet spinorama dribble drive. It made it 26-24. It was the 128 mark of the first. It was just, good handles, as they say. Number 3, Coffee hit a 3 off a Kawhi miss, and then recovery, getting the rebound, finding Coffee in the corner, who buried the 3 at the 11-minute mark to make it 33-24. 28. This was early in the second. For number 2, Kawhi hit a 3, playing a lot of ISO ball, but when you're burying threes, and look, Kawhi is a heck of a good shooter, especially from that extended free throw line spot that he likes to get in. But this 3 was just a little bit back of that, off on the wing there at the 9:26 mark. It tied the game at 65. And for number 1, oh wait, Kawhi had another that dribble drive. Speaking of spinorama, we had a couple of up and unders with the left hand. Kawhi had one of them. Norm Powell had one of them. But Kawhi had the spinorama, the dribble drive, and then up and under with the left hand reverse. And Brian Seaman said he doesn't recall ever seeing Kawhi Leonard do that. I find that hard to believe, but he watches considerably more Clipper basketball than I did. Not anymore. We watch the same amount now, but before, I would imagine he's watched more. So I would find that a little surprising. You've never seen Kawhi do a reverse up and under with the left hand. That's kind of surprising. But for number 1, Norm Powell had that sweet dribble drive up and under with the left hand at the 7:26 mark. This gave the Clippers their biggest lead of the night, 106-100. Beating 4 defenders, weaving in and out to get to the rack. As I said, I was very impressed with Norm Powell's penetration dribble drive tonight. Very aggressive, and that's nice to see for the Clippers. In a 10-point win over the Bucks, 127-117. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about the defense, which tonight was a big part of this win. But the other side of things, the offense, obviously keyed by James Harden. We'll get into his game a little bit deeper after the break. He had 40 on the night, so he deserves a little bit more love. Clippers tonight, win number 26, 127-117 over the Bulls. Yes, Craig, good point. Bucks are a good team to beat. That was a nice win for the Clippers, so it feels good right now. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. You can also listen wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. We come on right after every Clippers game and break it down for you. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast is brought to you by Talkspace. Therapy is a game changer. It can help manage stress, improve sleep, and communicate more effectively. But finding the right therapist and fitting sessions into a busy schedule can be a challenge. That's where Talkspace comes in. Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, makes getting help you need easy and accessible and affordable. With Talkspace, signing up is simple. You can match with a licensed therapist who fits your needs, usually within 48 hours, which is nice because sometimes, you make your decision to do it. And then if by chance they don't get back to you in time, you don't get the follow through, you might get busy doing other things and it might get pushed to the back burner. So getting back right away and moving along the process in 48 hours is helpful and convenient. You have sessions from the comfort of your home and even message your therapist between appointments. Plus, Talkspace is covered by many insurance plans. And for most insured members, there's a zero copay. It never has been easier to prioritize mental health. As a listener of the podcast or the postcast, you'll get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnNBA and enter the promo code SPACE80 to match with a licensed therapist today. Go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnNBA and enter the promo code SPACE80 to get $80 off your first month and show your support for the show. It's Talkspace.com/LockedOnNBA. That promo code, once again, SPACE80. All right, Clippers locked up Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard late in the game when it mattered. And it was one of those situations where you never feel like the Bucks are out of it when they've got those two guys and when they've got Gary Trent Jr. banging down threes the way he was tonight with 5. And Taurean Prince had a nice night with 4 threes. So you kind of never feel, even with 2 to 3 minutes on the clock, that they're out of it. But that 2 or 3 minutes expired very, very rapidly because I feel like the Clippers just wrapped them up, defended them, and stuck the will. They took the will from them, and the Bucks just kind of went away quietly after a solid 2.5 quarters. I mean, they had a really good first half. Again, they led going into the break, and you shot the ball well, played aggressively. I felt like the lane was wide open to them, and that's what had me worried. Anytime the lane is wide open for the Clippers leaving the lane open for the opposition, I just feel like that is not a good position to be. Those easy baskets in the lane make scoring easy, and therefore beating the Clippers easy. And then a lot of times to go with that, they don't guard the perimeter either. It just kind of feels like the defense just goes to sleep across the board. And again, as I mentioned earlier, it felt like tonight was a little bit of an all-star game. There wasn't a lot of defense going on in the first half, but Clips tightened it down. James Harden got hot. Kawhi Leonard was hot all night, played very well in his limited 24 minutes, was 8 of 17, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc, 18 points and 4 assists, and 3 boards, no turnovers. So the defense really got going, got energized, and you couple that with the offense getting hot. I think those two things feed into each other. It's like a lineup in baseball when one guy starts hitting, the next guy's hitting, and so forth and so on. It becomes infectious, and I feel like that's how it works for the Clippers. When the offense is scoring, with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard and Norm Powell are doing their thing, then the defense kind of ratchets it up, gets energy, and starts to play a little bit harder. And again, having a big game from James Harden is so crucial to their success. 12 of 24, 4 of 10 from beyond the arc, but more importantly, 12 of 12 from the line. He had 9 assists, and again, only 1 turnover. So a really fantastic night from James Harden. The 9 assists, I guess, kind of throws the ISO ball comment in my face, because he was not only playing ISO ball, scoring the 17 and the 30, he was passing the ball as well. So that is a complete night for James Harden across the board. And I feel like when you see him do that, and Kawhi Leonard does what he does in just 24 minutes, 8 of 17, you just feel good about the potential, about the future, about what you feel like ultimately this team can do, right? Even against a team like the Bucks that is good, and they've got good players, and Giannis Antetokounmpo can play. He was playing in the first half, straight down the lane, time after time, just tough to deal with. And the Clippers figured out a way to deal with it. And that's huge. Having that defensive pressure is going to be the thing that propels them to higher levels of the postseason. They got to continue to do that. But if you can figure out that, and you've got scorers like Kawhi, Harden, Norm Powell, who, by the way, ended up with a fantastic night. Let's not let that go unmentioned or unnoticed. Let's not bury that. He was scoreless until about the 5-minute mark of the second quarter. He finished with 11 in the first half and 33 on the night. 11 of 23, 3 for 8, and 8 of 8 from the line. He had 6 rebounds and 2 blocks. So the defense, again, was all over the place, and they were picking the pocket of the Milwaukee Bucks on a regular basis. I don't know if ESPN has got this stat line thing figured out. Let's check it one more time and see if they're still saying there's 47 assists. I'm sorry, not 47 assists. They're saying the Clippers had 3 turnovers. That's wrong. I'm curious to see how many turnovers the Bucks had, because that was a big part of why the Clippers were able to prevail in this game, just taking the ball away from the Bucks. Jump over here to NBA.com. I'm not very familiar. Okay, so this is the Bucks. 13 turnovers. It's not bad. I thought that number would be higher, but they will take it as long as they win that turnover battle, as the Clippers did tonight, with a grand total of 6 turnovers. 6 turnovers. So much to feel good about tonight in this game. Kawhi playing well, James Harden going off for 40, Norm Powell in 2.5 quarters scores 33, and when it's all said and done, they win by 10 over the Bucks and only have 6 freaking turnovers. That needs to be celebrated. 6 freaking turnovers. That is good stuff right there. 127, 117 the final. That's going to do it for tonight. I'm Pete Fox. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast. Again, we come on right after the game and break it down for you right here on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. You can also listen wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. Back at it Monday, day off tomorrow. They're in Phoenix to face the Suns. The front end of a very long, very arduous 4-game road trip that'll take them to San Antonio, Charlotte, and then a week from tomorrow, they're in Toronto. I'm Pete Fox. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Have a good night. We will talk on Monday.